bow mounted decoy, and they look so cheesy, but it is like, oh my gosh, it's the coolest way to kill whitetail, hands down. I'm not even kidding. Like, I had the first time I ever tried it, we had this mature buck come in, and as soon as I put it up, he started licking his nose, ears pinned back, was coming. If there wasn't a fence, he would have came all the way to me and beat me up. But I mean, I drew back right in front of his face. So like, that's the setup that I use. Calling from a tree, it's like only having purple, green, and blue on your canvas. But when you call on the ground, and you can paint the picture with all the leaves and the sticks breaking, and that's what an actual buck's fight sounds like. Your calling power is crazy. That's when you add the yellows, reds, orange, pinks, purple, whatever. Like, that is like the full masterpiece of calling. But a ghillie is the best camo. Like, if you're trying to really conceal yourself on the ground, there's nothing better than a ghillie. Oh, dude, I've got a target squirrel, and he's a booner. Let me tell you, man. This squirrel is half black, half red. I've only seen 2 in my life, ever. But, gosh, I want to get him really bad. I've always wanted to get one.
Hey guys, just a quick reminder that the time of the season is approaching where the best tactic out in the woods is time in the stand. As the weather gets colder and the rut heats up, make sure you are able to be out there as long as possible when it matters the most. That's why we use Numa outdoor gear. Down here in the south, before it gets cold, it gets really wet. So something that's been staying in my hunting pack is their Kaza 3L element proof rain jacket and pant. They're lightweight, quiet, and it packs down nicely in your bag when you aren't using them. Then when the weather gets really cold and nasty, I switch to the Torrent jacket and pant. It's perfect to get you through that heavy rain, snow, or wind. To check them out, visit www.numaoutdoors.com and use code HA20 for 20% off at checkout. Now let's get back to the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hunter's Advantage podcast. Today, I'm here with Christian Babcock. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, man. You need to add spelling bee champion to my name under my little tag. Can't pronounce names, can't spell, dude. I've got a lot of disabilities.
Are you able to like walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, or is that just out of your realm?
Funny enough, dude, I do go buy Hubba Bubba, especially when I go on hunting trips, and I buy a blueberry and a regular, and I mix them, and I can eat them. I can eat like 2 Hubba Bubba sticks in 30 to 45 minutes because you only get like 3 or 4 chews out of them. But yes, to answer your question, I absolutely can chew gum and walk at the same time. What's going on with you? You been hunting any?
I went a few times since I think we last been on, and found some really good spots, but it seems like every single spot I check out, it just has like a cell cam. Like me and your brother actually went last night? I think it was.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. And for the most part, like, I was trying to check out a new area because the last area I went in had just a whole bunch of trail cameras. And walking in, I seen 2 doe just kind of strutting across this little field. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be on the field. I kind of want to go back into that timber a little bit and see what's up. And I ended up finding some smaller rubs, quite a few of those. And then I found a scrape on the field edge, which I was like, that ain't nothing special. Like, I feel like those are a dime a dozen. So I went in a little bit further, and I found a megalodon of all scrapes. Like, this thing was like beat into the dirt, I don't know, maybe like 6-7 inches. And just to make sure it wasn't man-made, I like kind of stuck my head over there by it. And there's a whole bunch of like tracks and paw marks and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, sweet. I got a cell cam and then an SD cam. And as soon as I go to look around to see which tree to hang it on, I see a cell cam pointing right at me, like 5 yards away.
Some guy give it, like, dang it.
Yeah, I give it one of these, and then I was like, you know what? Like, this is public land. This might be kind of, I don't know if it's bad or not, but what I did just
definitely frowned upon.
It probably is frowned upon, but that's the second time I went to a good spot on this piece of public that like it already had a camera on, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hunt the spot. I just want to see what's in the area because like we've talked about it. The more mountainous stuff hunts a lot bigger than like, let's say, a lot of the Midwest were just like ag ground. Like, we have these dips and haulers and like these drainages. And I'm like, okay, I can be, 800-900 yards away from this dude. And it basically hunts like it's different
2
deer.
miles.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see what's on this piece because, dude, that's one, like, as long as the dude didn't do like a mock scrape and like dig it out. This is the biggest one and the nastiest one I've ever
He
seen.
took his 6 kids back there, every one of them with a rake, and he's like, "Let's go,
Yeah.
boys! We're making a community
Yeah.
scrape."
So what I did is I just hung my cell cam like, I don't know, 9 foot in a tree, like a little bit behind where this dude's cell cam is. And so it's funny because in the pictures you can even see the dude's cell cam in the picture. So again, I don't know if this is bad or not. So I don't want to get a lot of hate, but
listenership's gonna be down 50% after they hear this.
It's public land, and like, dude, I haven't found a spot yet that I haven't seen a camera. So it's just like I might as well just join the party.
Hey, you can't beat him, join him, man. You're looking like those guys out west on the water holes, 48 cameras on one freaking water hole.
I guess. But you've been doing a little bit of hunting too, Oklahoma and Texas.
Tried not to get blown away, man. I hunted a little bit, and it was every bit a 35-mile-an-hour wind, pretty constant, with some gusts up to like 45, 50. But it's just getting that time of the year where it's hard to stay out of the woods, man. I mean, we're recording this on October 30th. It's kind of, we always talk about it's kind of walking up to the peak, right? And we're fixing to walk right up to the peak and then jump right off the other end of it. So, I mean, we brought a pretty cool guest in today to talk about. I mean, we do like bringing in people that shoot a lot bigger bucks than us. That way there's some validity to the podcast. And this guy comes very highly recommended from our buddy Denton Curry, who said, I asked him, topically, what should we talk with Kaleb about? And he said, dude, anything. This guy knows his stuff. So we've seen some videos of his, obviously been following him for a little while. So, but dude, I'm excited for this conversation.
I don't know if that was a very good intro into him, because it's like, oh, we like bringing on people that shoot bigger bucks. That's not a very high bar. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, at least 120, 100%. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Who do we got today?
Yeah, we got Kaleb Greiner. So come on in and join the party. What's going on, man?
What's going on, boys?
Dude, I did I get it right that time?
You got it right, man.
Dude, heck yeah.
Spelling bee champion.
All right.
Dude, exactly.
I don't know if you've listened to very many podcasts, but we try to be a faith-based, hunting podcast, right? And so with that, I was looking through your Instagram a little bit ago, and I seen in your bio you had Psalms 34:4. And I'm going to press you a little bit. What's the verse, and then what does it mean to you?
Man, I feel a little embarrassed. I don't know that verse off the top of my heart, but this past spring, my grandpa passed away, and in his passing, I just got a little bit closer to God, I guess you could say. And I was just looking up Bible verses one night, and that one hit me, and I was like, man, what an awesome Bible verse to share. Like, if anyone was gonna look it up and see that, I guess that was what I was going for there. But I don't know that one off the top of my heart, so I'm a little embarrassed to say that.
34:4, Jake? Is that what it is? I sought the Lord, and He heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Is that it?
34, 4-5, and then 8.
Oh,
yeah. I sought the Lord, and He answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to Him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. I like that. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, man, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I wasn't trying to press you on that, or
dude, spelling bee, Bible champion. He's gonna have a bunch of tokens after this. Like,
no, I really like that. I should have known that off the top of my head, but no,
it's all good.
I like that verse and everything. So
yeah. So we kind of talked a little bit about it in the intro, and you're up in Iowa, correct?
I am Southern Iowa.
Have you been enjoying some of this wind, or did it not make it all the way up to you?
Dude, I feel like I was just getting windier and windier every year, man. But I tell you what, I'm enjoying like no EHD this year. The past 2 years has been just disease everywhere, man. And the deer finally acting like deer this year. So it's been really enjoyable to go out and enjoy the woods.
You haven't had no EHD this fall?
Nope, no disease this year. I know other states. I heard Ohio was really bad this year, but
southeast Ohio, I think.
Yeah. Buddy Shea, they're on Tree Crew out there in PA. They lost quite a few deer this year, but man, it sucks when you go through that. It really does. It takes the wind out of you.
We can't even keep them alive from getting killed or poached off the road. I couldn't imagine if you threw another like thing where they just die of natural mortality. You'd be like, can we ever get a deer to 4 years old?
That's what I was gonna say. Like Oklahoma's EHD is like called neighbors and poachers.
We run into a little bit of poaching still, but it's gotten a lot better, man. The DNR have cracked down really well. here in Iowa anyway. So I've heard some stories down south that it gets pretty western.
Oh yeah, people hunt for food down here, man. A lot of people do. Like so in, I guess it'd be eastern Oklahoma, I guess southeastern Oklahoma. You see a lot of people. It's the mountains, obviously, so people hunt all year. But I have a buddy from Texas that's like, yeah, I was on my southeast Oklahoma lease, and people kind of do a lot of sketchy things, that a lot of methed up things. A lot of people do meth and stuff like that. And he's like, I don't go to my lease by myself. I'm like, that sucks. Like, you can't even go to your own lease by yourself because you might run into Jim Bob out there with a moonshine still, or poaching deer off the road.
That's some sequin stuff there.
Dude, for real. Yeah. So we're recording this obviously on the 30th. This is gonna drop on November 3rd. But this kind of, I guess, this next week, looking at next Monday, first week in November, kind of moving on through the 10th before they're in lockdown. Is this a pretty exciting time for you up in Iowa, or is this a time where your target buck gets away and you start getting upset?
Yeah, man, it's crunch time. I still feel like starting to see some all-day movement. I manage a lot of cameras for other guys, so I get to see cameras all over the state of Iowa to see like what the activity's like on a day-to-day. But the mature bucks are doing a lot of cruising. With some are already locked down with their first does and whatnot. But this next week's like when you get your butt to a tree and you stay there all day. I mean, start hunting the edges of bedding areas, play your wind right, obviously, but those pinch points, that's when they pay off during this next week. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Do you think? Go ahead, Jake.
I was just going to ask, kind of set the scene a little bit. I mean, you're in Iowa, so what's that kind of look like for maybe somebody who's never been to Iowa, but maybe they're from a different state and they can kind of relate to about what we're talking about?
Yeah, so Iowa's really the eastern side, and most of it is really flat. Now, where I live, there's some billy goat hills, there's some steep ditches and whatnot. We got some terrain. We do have hardwoods, oak timbers and whatnot, but most of what I hunt, I used to hunt, big cover, big timbers, stuff like that. But a lot of the country in eastern Iowa, it is ag fields and a couple fence lines with a few trees on it, a couple draws here and there. And that's what I've really, really focused on over the course of the past probably 4 or 5 years. And dude, like the caliber of whitetails has gone up considerably, and there's way less hunters because they just don't think there's deer out there.
You're hunting an area, you said, that has even less timber than other areas?
Yeah, like little skinny draws that you wouldn't think a deer lives in, or you wouldn't think that the amount of deer numbers on that piece would be what they are.
Well, Jake, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking to Don Higgins a few weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, I'll go to and hunt these little 1 acre woodlots out in the middle of hundreds of acres of ag. And he's like, yeah, sometimes there's, a mature buck or maybe a couple of mature bucks in that just little piece of timber. And like, that rattled my mind. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. But he says that there sometimes is like that.
Yeah, it's super eye-opening, man. I mean, I'm talking about, I think what helped me was looking at where all the pressure was and then starting to circle those areas where the pressure wasn't. And anymore, like if I'm driving in the car with my fiance and I see like a bush in the middle of an ag field, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, the odds of an absolute giant, like I'm talking like 170 to 200 inchers live on this kind of stuff. It's just so remote. They don't get messed with. Those spots that it's like, dude, where does this freaking deer go? Every year he disappears. It's like a ghost. They're right under your nose in the middle of nowhere. At least that's where they are for where I hunt anyway.
So when you hunt these little patches, I mean, is all of it kind of, are they patches of mature timber where you can actually get a stand in there, or there's some where you have to kind of camp on the ground and try to get it done like that?
Little bit of both. Either way. Normally there's a lot of shrubs. There's really good horizontal cover in there because it's a tight timber. Sunlight can penetrate down to that forest floor, and the undergrowth just takes off. It's nice and bushy normally in those kind of spots. So the deer are really hidden. They feel really safe there. But yeah, that's kind of one of my hidden secrets. I've been blasting that for the last few years, but like I've got buddies in Wisconsin that started they were telling me like, dude, I just can't get permission, man. Like, it's so hard up here. Everyone hunts. And it's like, okay, try doing the same thing I do. Go ask for these little properties that have basically nothing that no one's hunting on, and try it out. Does that, picks up a couple 140s in Wisconsin. And I know it's worked in Indiana, Missouri, Illinois. I don't know. Might be onto something.
I might start looking for some of those myself. It is interesting when you think about it from a deer's perspective. It's like their whole world is like 3.5 feet off the ground, 4 feet off the ground. And, we're looking for stuff that's like good access for us, good trees for us to hang in, stuff I can put all my camera equipment in. And to them, I think you're right. Like if they're in anything like that, they're probably like, well, life is good. I just live out here. I do my thing. I go up there and I eat and I drop down in this little ditch right here with some shrubbery. And now and the pressure thing's interesting too. Like you're right. People probably aren't looking for that.
They're not, man. Those kind of spots, they're just like untouched. I mean, I had a fun hunt a couple years ago. This deer I called Vendetta. This deer was living in a half acre of shrubs that was next to the busiest gravel road that was very well known for poaching and everything. But he was, bedded within 50 yards off the road every single day. It was nuts. They will be right under your nose. It's just the spots that you would never think that a whitetail would be in. And then you correlate it to, well, there's no pressure there. So yeah, he's got it made right there.
I think I heard a thing the other day. It was like Lee Lakowski talking about it. Lakowski saying like only 8% of Iowa is timber. So like you guys are like over 90% of the state is like open fields or ag or hay or whatever. And when you think about it like that, if you take all your residents and you stack them, the majority of them in that timber, it's like there's not much other places for those deer to go. And they have to find the mature bucks like you're probably hunting. You got to find a place to hide. So a half acre little shrub lot or whatever you want to call it. It's like, that's kind of thinking a little outside the box, I think.
It is, man. In those wide open areas too, you start running out of spots to hang cameras and whatnot. It's actually really hard to get those suckers on camera out in the flats like that.
You just zip tie a bunch of hay together and just put your camera on it and zip tie enough of them.
Yeah, no kidding. Honestly, I just try looking for as many fence gaps as I can find normally. Like
Christian already said, this is going to air November 3rd, 2nd or 3rd. And we want to talk about from then on kind of moving forward and what you're going to be doing, I guess, tactic wise. But before we get into that, I kind of want to know about your background a little bit. Like, how'd you get into hunting? Was it like a passed down thing or did you kind of learn it by yourself?
Yeah, passed down thing. My entire family on my dad's side, they were big hunters, really big hunters. And Dad got me a bow at a really young age. One of those, I don't know what, like a youth bow, a youth bow that has like plastic tips or whatever. And he let me sit with him from time to time when I was really young, and finally bought me an actual youth compound bow. He'd tie me to the ladder stands and whatnot. He'd come pick me up at dark. We had a lot of fun, man. But grew up shooting squirrels and pigeons and whatnot with the old 410. That's actually a big passion of mine, squirrel hunting still. I love shooting those things. But yeah, just met a couple buddies in middle school. His name's Collins Marine, to be specific, and Josh Sparks. They're on Midwest Whitetail, and those guys had the same passion as me. We actually, every day, Collins and I would watch Midwest Whitetail, Bill Winke. Growing up, when we'd get to high school, that's when they were dropping them on Thursdays too. And that's how we kind of learned how to bow hunt. My parents, like, we have a bunch of public behind my parents' house, like thousands of acres. And so I was like a kid in a candy store. I'd practice bow hunting essentially in my parents' backyard on this big piece of public. And a lot of failing, man, like a lot of failing. And through all that failure, I kept learning. And that's like the addiction for me is, oh my gosh, like still today, like every time I go out and sit, there's something you can learn from every hunt. You can take away something. And I think that's what got me hooked so well. Was just, there's always an extra step that you can take or something that you can learn to improve that next hunt or that next year or that next chase for that big buck.
Yeah. I like what you said about a lot of failing, because I try to key on that quite a bit. Like we had this thing we usually do, and we'll ask you the same question towards the end of the podcast, like, but it's called Close But No Cigar. And like the moral of it is just, people, whether that be little kids getting into hunting, or maybe it's a 30, 40-year-old man who's never even hunted a day in his life, but he's wanting to start to get into it. You get on YouTube or Facebook, especially, and you see people just doing the grip and grin on big giant bucks. And, they're thinking like, okay, I didn't see anything. Like I must just either be the world's worst hunter, or, I just don't know anything. And you saying that, it's like, that's not like, all social media is basically is a highlight reel. And, me, when I first started getting into bow hunting, like in Oklahoma, we can bait. And I just went on my neighbor's like back pasture. I dumped a whole bunch of crack corn that my mom usually fed, the chickens with. And I would just try to get doe as close as possible. I was on a buddy ladder stand, and I had a big old pile of crack corn 10 yards under the stand. And I had my dad's old PSC bow, and I probably missed the first 6 or 7 doe. Of course, they came in groups, and it was just, I got blown out so many times, but like, that's the reality of it. And I like what you said there, but how many, just to put a number on it, how many times you think you failed before you succeeded?
I started bow hunting when I was in 6th grade. I didn't kill until I was an 8th grader, so I would have been 12 or 13. The amount of times that I failed between then, the amount of arrows that I sent, the amount of, I probably hit 3 or 4 deer bad too. Like that's just a part of growing as a bow hunter, man. Like it's going to happen no matter how much you care about those animals, how much you practice starting out. There's just so many things that you have to learn and experience first. So shoot, man, probably at least 2 or 3 dozen times. But I remember too, when I was really young starting out, I had really bad problems about getting buck fever. I couldn't even draw my bow back, man, on so many giant. Looking back, they were probably 150, 160s. I would have been, my dad would have been so jealous at the time. But I couldn't get my bow back. I was shaking so bad. That took me, honestly, that probably took me a year to get over that even. It took me a long time before I could rear that thing back, hold my nerves, and at least pull it back or hold it back anyway.
And look at you now, never blackout, never buck fever. You're just a man of steel now, aren't you?
I still get doe fever even. You kidding me? That first year of the hunt, first doe that comes in there, oh man, you start getting the jitters.
That's awesome.
That reminds me of, I shot my first year I ever went rifle hunting, I was 8, and I shot a doe and a buck pretty quick. And then I was like, man, this hunting thing's awesome. I actually shot a doe my first 5 minutes of hunting. I was like, I love hunting. And then for the next 3 years, I shot at 6 or 7 different bucks with my rifle, and I couldn't hit one, to the point where my uncle's like, hey, unless you can figure this out, I'm going to quit taking you hunting. Because it was, I was taking the first opportunity away from my dad and my uncle. I'm like, let me get another shot. Let me try again. And they checked me out of school one day to shoot at a freaking mega 6-point. And I went out there, he runs out 30 minutes before dark, and I freaking shoot and miss. And they're like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Dude, I guess I'm a fisherman. I got him.
The only thing I've ever seen you hit with a rifle is your eye. Like, you're pretty good at scope eyeing yourself.
People think that I don't rifle hunt because I'm an elitist. I don't rifle hunt because they don't like me. Me and rifles don't get along. I'm more accurate with a bow than I am a freaking rifle. It's sad.
Oh shoot, man.
That's awesome.
Did you ever shoot at you talk about squirrels and stuff. Did you ever bow hunt any squirrels or birds or anything like that?
Oh, dude, I have shot a lot of squirrels. I always keep a squirrel arrow in the quiver, but it's actually funny. I've got this squirrel that he's living probably about a half mile from the house. Casey's sitting over here laughing at me.
You got a target squirrel?
Oh, dude, I've got a target squirrel, and he's a booner. Let me tell you, man, this squirrel is half black, half red. I've only seen 2 in my life ever, but gosh, I want to get him really bad. I've always wanted to get one.
Would you mount him or?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no questions asked. He's going on the wall.
I see pictures on Facebook, or actually our buddy Jesse Bloomer got one, I think a couple years back, those albino raccoons. Dude, if I ever see one of those, I am mounting that thing and I'm putting it like smack dab in the living room. I don't care if it's like hanging off of a deer. Like that'd be kind of actually pretty cool. But my wife would hate it, but it'd be awesome.
That would be so sick. I don't. Are you a big trapper then?
So no, short answer, no. But like I have. So when I was like, I don't know, I was right when I was able to drive. So I was like 15, 16. One of our family friends, actually, he used to trap like all down in Southeast Oklahoma. They used to go down for like a week and just run a trap line, like January, December type stuff. And he kind of got me into it. So I have all the stuff. I just don't have the time to trap now because it kind of intervenes with hunting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I hear you.
do you do any trapping?
Dude, that trapping is an addiction. I wish every year I could be tagged out by October so I could just trap the rest of November.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot. It made me a lot better and more dialed in on like making scrapes for whitetails for sure. As well, you pay attention to more details, especially like coyote trapping will teach you a lot. Like, dude, catching a coyote in a foothold is like trying to shoot a mature whitetail. You know what I mean? Like it's
I've
tough.
never caught a coyote. The closest thing I did to a coyote was like the nail. That was the only thing left in the foothold, and I was like, man.
No.
Like, and then I had one take my trap. I assume it was a coyote. It's either that or a freaking
Somebody's
cougar.
dog.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's good or I should be saying this. Like, I used to trap behind my uncle's house, and he had a lot of barn cats, and I ended up thinning the herd a little bit on those things.
Yeah.
Well, because like you can't hold them down and like get them out of the trap, or else your arm's going to just look like hamburger meat. So it's like, well,
Dude,
sorry.
them cats are mean, man. I don't know if you guys ever seen a bobcat in a trap, but that'll make your hair stand up real fast. I'd rather mess with a coyote than a bobcat. That's for darn sure. Those things are freaking mean.
Do you sell like the pelts and stuff, or you just kind of keep them? And
Yeah,
send 'em and
man. I used to when when I was in high school. I was getting $30 average on coon. I had a little Honda Accord and drive with my sister every day to high school, but I had a trap line. But if I saw a roadkill coon, I mean, you can bet your dollar it was going in the back of my Honda Accord. And sometimes I'd pick 3 or 4 up, make $100 on the way to school. But she gets so mad. I would put skunks in the back of the trunk. But I mean, that they used to be really good, man. Like skunks were $10, coons were 30, coyotes were 40. Shoot, I think a bobcat used to be like $150, but
oh really?
the prices have declined mega. I mean, it's hard to find guys that'll buy a coon. Maybe you can sell them for $3 for like an XL too. So it's
that ain't even worth the gas driving to go check them.
Why aren't they worth anything anymore?
Just not a lot of people wearing fur, man, unfortunately. And yeah, the market's just gone kind of disappeared, I guess.
I don't know how the turkey are up there, but around here recently, or not so much this year, but like years past, the turkey population kind of declined. Do you think that has anything to do with that? Just like because the furs aren't worth anything, less people trap. And so, I mean, those things are little nest raiders. So do you think that has anything to do with it, or
100%? There's just not a lot of people, like you just said, that it's not even worth the gas. That's what most people especially that were just trapping for the money, those guys quit completely. And it's hard to judge. Like you said, it's hard to find the time to go trapping in deer season, man. I mean, you're chasing a big old buck. Why do I want to go trap a couple coons? But as far as turkey goes, like if you guys are turkey hunters and you don't trap, I almost want to say shame on you, because you could have such a better turkey population. And I don't know what the stat would be for how many nests get raided by coons or whatever. I'm sure it's some crazy statistic, but you could help your property out significantly by trapping. I mean, these properties that I manage where I live, there's hundreds of turkeys, but I hit the coon really, really hard. And on years that I can tell the coon population is down really good, we have really, really good hatches, and I can tell that.
How do you take care of the coon population? Just trapping them?
Yeah, trapping them.
Or is there tannerite or poison or something? Because I've got about 40 on my feeder that I need to take out in one swoop.
That's more of a beaver thing, but yeah, no, dog proofs, man, 220s. Those are really simple, easy traps that, I mean, takes 30 seconds to reset it and on your merry way, you know? So it's not like it's a really big job or anything. You can trap the field edges right by the road. You'd be surprised how much a coon runs if you don't want to go all the way into the interiors of your farm. So, I mean, killing a couple coon or harvesting a couple coon, it'll make a bigger dent than what you would believe.
Might wait till like January 15th and go out there with my thermal and just do work in the middle of the night on a corn feeder.
Do it, man. I mean, they made coon year round in Iowa. It's never been that until I think it was last year. They made it legal to do so. Shoot them year round.
That's wild. So you said something when you were talking about running traps for coyotes and stuff, and then you were kind of relating it back to scrapes. Can you talk a little bit about what you learned with the coyote stuff and how that helped you on putting up mock scrapes?
Yeah. So I like to be really technical with my scrapes. And trapping, it's the same way. You got to be really technical. So a coyote's nose is very, very powerful. And you can't get any scent on the traps. When you finish that set and everything, you might put a coyote turd here, so he steps right here. You're placing that pan exactly in the right spot, so when he puts his foot down, you got a full catch. Well, scrapes are the same way. Like, for example, I gave an example in a scrape video I did not too long ago where in southern states you can use a CD above a dirt hole or a foothold set, and that'll get a cat's attention, a bobcat. And like vine scrapes, same way. But when I'm making my scrapes, say like I've got a hot stand, I'll always put a scrape within 20, 30 yards of that stand. And if I put it in there in the summer, it'll turn into a community scrape, and all the deer, fawns, does, bucks of all age classes will hit it. Now, after I make that scrape, I got this from trapping, I'll cut all the other hanging branches in the immediate area, probably within 10, 20 yards of that. So my vine pops just like a CD effect would to get that bobcat over to your set to work the set. I'm making my vine pop just like that CD. So it takes the animal there, works the set, and I got a picture of them. And not only that, I mean, when you're bow hunting, you'd be surprised even in November how often these bucks are hitting these community scrapes, because I'm starting them in probably around May, sometimes in the winter, sometimes I leave them up year round, and they just don't fall out. But trapping helped me significantly on my scrape game, man, significantly. And you're always trying a bunch of different scents and stuff out with trapping, and I did just that with my scrapes. I know a lot of guys, yeah, you can pee in a scrape and sure, you'll get action on that scrape. But if you want that scrape to be, I mean, hit significantly, like right away, as soon as you put it up, which you do, that way you get more deer on camera and you make that spot better. You make your bow spot better. You got to use a really good scent to get them there, like boom. I've noticed it makes a difference, and I do this for work. So I got to rely on this kind of stuff.
When you go to try to make like that community scrape, do you try to do it in an already existing one, or do you just make it full blown yourself?
No, I make it full blown myself. I get 2 zip ties. I get a grapevine. I go all the way. The height is one of the most important things because you need it at the right height so the fawns can hit it, so the does can hit it, so the bucks can hit it. Also the fawns. That's really important. You want all age classes hitting these scrapes. And actually the other day I was hanging cameras for a client, and I was looking at my 3 vine scrapes that I had there all summer long, and I was like, man, those are these 6 foot, I mean, like you were saying earlier, 6 feet down, 6 inches into the ground. That's what those scrapes look like. And then I went further around the plot, and I saw these little scrapes that they've made in October or here within the past few weeks, and they're all these smaller scrapes. But when I sit those spots, those deer always go to those community scrapes when they go to those plots. They beeline it to it most times. So I find that it helps significantly getting my cameras on the scrapes a lot earlier, just getting my scrapes up earlier.
So do you feel like by taking I guess you said you went around and kind of trimmed off the other options for them to hit under other trees. Do you feel like that's kind of a strategic thing of like, hey, I'm going to get every deer instead of, making 5 scrapes through this 20-yard piece. We're all going to use this one. And that makes it even more powerful.
It makes it, they come and hit that one instead of hitting the one that's maybe 40 yards down, because my vine scrape's at 20 yards. I'm putting my vine scrape exactly where I want to kill that deer. Exactly where I want to kill him. and all those scrapes in between or past that, I don't want them scraping there. I want them to come out all the way into 20 yards, give me a pop shot kind of deal. Now, I've heard guys say you don't want to take all the scrapes away on the plot, and sure, there's still a bunch of other scrapes that you can make around that plot and everything, but for that area to make that vine pop in the deer's eyes and everything, you got to cut the branches around it, man. You got to clean it up. You got to make that vine really like pop. And it's honestly that and fence caps is all I really run cameras on in November, and my camera game has gone up considerably in November. I always used to struggle, especially in lockdown, but that method has worked for me significantly time and time again.
Is it mainly on field edges, or do you do them in like big timber as well?
Dude, I do them in big timber as well. I mean, you get a timber setting too. Like if I'm doing them in the timber in the summer, I always bring a rake with me, and I get that fresh dirt effect. That way I got the visual. It's just like trapping, get a visual for those animals while they're walking by. They'll smell that fresh dirt too. But I mean, they're not digging in the summer or anything, but when you start it in a timber like that, man, they smoke it. They smoke it.
So more on the visual side, like I listened to a podcast the other day. I think it was Troy Pottinger, and he was talking about scrapes, and he was saying that's like the biggest thing is like just painting the believable picture, because like those bigger mature bucks, they don't want just one element of the scrape, which is just like maybe the scent or lure, kind of like what you're saying. They're wanting that hanging branch. They're wanting it to look legit. And he even went as far as, taking that scent and like taking his little handsaw and like raking trees right by it and like using that scent, or at least the forehead gland, or I don't know what kind of gland on that as well. Like, do you kind of take that same approach, or do you just
pre-orbital
there?
Yep, a pre-orbital gland. It's pre-orbitals in the corners of their eyes. They'll rub the vines. It's fun running cameras on video mode over the scrapes, but they'll rub it in their into the vine, get their forehead on there too, but sometimes they'll get them twisted in their racks and whatnot. I have been trying a couple ropes this year. I'm sure like down south by you guys, I don't know if you guys have grapevines.
Not really.
Yeah, so I know a lot of guys that use ropes down there. I did find a really cool alternative of buying ropes from a guy, Tom's Rope Scrapes. He owns them and everything. They're wicked. They work really well. But the only thing with the rope that I really don't like that I'm seeing is like they'll get their antlers stuck in it because they play with it so much, and then there goes your scrape. They'll yoink it out, and you want to hope that they don't get it stuck in a fence or something, but you might end up killing them with your scrape. I'm sure it's happened before.
Yeah, he's actually caught in my scrape. That's how I got him.
The deer that I was hunting actually this year got one of my rope scrapes that I was trying out this year stuck in his antlers, and for like 2 or 3 days he was missing on camera. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just kill this freaking deer? Hopefully not. But he lost it.
That might be the way to match up sheds, is you just like make them hit these rope scrapes and then get them tied up in both antlers
together,
and they come off. Yeah, it's like a shed trap.
Not to get off topic, but since you said that, like I found a bunch of match sets like laying right next to each other last year, and the only thing that I could think of that made it that way, I'm talking like probably 12, 15, which was out of the world, like compared to what is normal for me, and they were all mature, like 150 or bigger sets. We had EHD, and we had way too many does. And like, dude, those antlers just popped off really, really early last year. We didn't have cold weather. I know everyone always used to talk about cold weather, making deer shed earlier, but I think it's honestly from just their nutrition, from getting rutted down so hard. Gosh, doe population's a big topic. Sorry, I'm rambling. I could talk about anything forever with you guys about deer.
No, we want you to ramble, so that's good.
But I'm just kind of sticking on the vein of the scrapes, and you talked about the pre-orbital. What other sense or glandular stuff do you use on a scraper? Is that the main one?
The main one, the best, and the absolute best pre-orbital. I've said it for probably 4 or 5 years. I found that one is Code Blue Rack Rub. It's a pre-orbital gel. It sticks to the branches really, really well. And I mean, I can't tell you how many scrapes I've hung where I'd leave in an hour or 2 or 3 hours later, I've got deer already working it. I put them up all season long, I move my cameras all season. If they're slow, if spot's slow, I got to make that camera better because I'm paying for the dang camera and it's expensive. So it's got to be getting me some kind of intel. So man, always be moving your cameras, I guess. Always be. It's never too late to hang a scrape.
So I had a buddy actually gift me some of that Code Blue. And does it smell this made my nose messed up post-COVID. Is it like really sweet smelling to you?
Oh yeah, man. It's
Dude,
like vanilla.
I've been opening it and like sniffing it in the car. I mean, maybe I huff just a little bit. But dude, it smells really good. I'm like, and I've hit some scrapes with it, and like you said, it really sticks to those branches really well. We use like oak limbs and stuff down here, and those deer are like, oh yeah, like nose all up in it. They love it,
right? And then after you get a deer to work it, I never have to go back to that scrape and use like the Code Blue again ever. I mean, I only use it when I start the scrapes out. I want to be clear. It's not like you got to continue buying it. It's just use it to start it out, get the deer there right away, get the scent up there right away, and they'll keep smoking it.
Are there selective trees that you try to key in on in Iowa that you want to make either scrapes around or maybe use them as a licking branch?
I'm not. No, I it's more so I'm looking for like high traffic areas where trails come together, pinch points like if you're like within 20 yards of a fence gap. That Hog Jr. is sitting back behind me. That deer was on vines. Like the way that I patterned that deer was awesome to see. But he would come onto this property for a day. He would grab his doe and then he'd leave the property for 2 days. I had so many interviews where I would say, yeah, we're not going to see him for 2 more days, but whatever, we're still going to hunt next day. And no, we're not going to see him. All right, we're going to see a Hog Jr. this day. But he would come in there and he'd hit every single one of my vine scrapes because I had them all next to pinch points. And it helped me pattern that deer like really, really well for November. I don't know. I'm rambling again, but vine scrapes are so freaking awesome, man. It's just the vertical scrape versus a horizontal's. I don't know. They like it more for some odd reason.
Is a vine like, we don't have what you're talking about here in the South, but is it like a natural thing that you would like cut off and transplant somewhere else, or are like those naturally out in the woods?
Yeah, they're just naturally out on the woods. They grow up on trees like poison oak or poison ivy, wood, and you find a live one. You want it dripping water after you cut it, and whatnot. But the other thing, like, gosh, if you do see any vines on your trees, like cut them because they choke out your trees and they kill your trees from reaching their full potential as well. I'm a tree nut too. I like talk about trees.
Because one of the issues that we have down here is like if we cut a limb or there's a limb that just fell off, dude, the leaves are gone like in a while. And it's just, I don't know if it doesn't hold sin as good or what, but it just looks like an old person's hand sitting there after, a month. And to me, it feels like they don't use it nearly as much when all the leaves are off of it.
Yeah, you probably want to use like an oak branch. They'll hold their leaves a lot longer. I know shingle oak, the only thing I don't like about shingle oak is they're a little bit more bitter, or sorry, like brittle at the tips, and deer like a cherry tree is awesome. They love those sticks. I mean, even if there's no leaves on there, they'll hit a cherry branch for sure. But a shingle oak, a bur oak, a white oak, those are all trees that hold their leaves really well. Even after you cut the scrape, you'll still hold those leaves for a month or 2 months afterwards.
What do we have? We have white oak, Jake. We got red oak. We have post oak, and then down here where I'm at, we have got a bunch of live oak. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with those, but those trees like grow like every direction. They have a 50-foot limb that's 2 foot off the ground. It's so ridiculous, but they lose their leaves a bunch.
So let's say you got a good buck hitting the scrape. Do you, I guess, stand placement wise, do you set up just kind of downwind to try to catch them scent checking it, or do you usually set up right on the scrape?
Well, I'm always shoot. I mean, most of my stands, now that I think about it, in November, they're all on fence gaps, man. But I guess I have a stand for that location on an east, north, south, west, whatever I need. Because that's the X. So, I mean, I'll hunt a spot continuously. I mean, as long as I play the wind smart, my access is perfect, then I'm going to go hunt that tree or whatever. So, I guess I don't really take that into account really at all, because I'm hunting like smaller fingers, small funnels. Even when I'm on like my guys' properties for work and whatnot, I don't really take that into account either. I guess I know where the deer are going, so I set the stand up downwind, obviously, but
That makes sense. That makes sense. Cause like down here, like you get more that mountainous terrain. I mean, not mountainous like Wisconsin and like Michigan and stuff like that, but like, you know, just to us it's mountainous. And you get this big block timber, and like just whenever we were rambling at first, I was talking about finding that big O scrape. And I'm like, I don't know whether really to set up on this thing, or because when I was walking around in there about, I don't know, 20 to 40 yards back away from the scrape, I was seeing some like trails. They were kind of faint, but I was like, if we had this certain wind, he could just be kind of coming in here and just checking it and then moving on his merry way. So now I'm kind of torn on whether or not like set up right over the scrape or set up kind of the more predominant wind that usually blows through there, and it's like maybe find a trail and sit off of it a little bit.
yeah, I like that idea, man. My number one thing is just picking the tree for the set first before I'm hanging the scrape or whatever. But in your case, I guess just hunting the wind, right?
Okay.
So
okay.
when you, oh, good.
No, this is stupid. Like it's going to bring us way off topic, but I don't know if you were listening when I was describing it, but there was already a camera there. So do you think that's frowned upon? Me putting a camera basically right beside a dude that already hung a camera on this scrape, or no?
On this episode of Judge My Ethics, what do you think?
Yeah, literally.
I mean, that's the thing, dude. Like I hunt public. I hunt a lot of public. Actually, last year's season, I hunted a lot of public. I mean, it is what it is, dude. I don't think we all have that right to that ground. I don't think there's anything wrong with hanging a camera of someone else's scrape, even if they made it, man. I mean, I've had it happen to me a lot. I don't think I've ever done it, but like, I mean, if it's the X, then like, I mean, shoot, man, you got to put a camera there. If it's that hot, but am I gonna hang a stand right over it? Probably not. But if I sneak in there on the ground and hunt on the ground or something, or do a hanging hunt on a weekday and I don't see anyone parked at the lot, yeah, I'm gonna hang a stand there.
See, like I felt very scummy when, like after I hung it and I left. But man, I spent probably 30 minutes just standing there looking at the thing, and I was just like, it's too good. Like it's too good. And so I don't know. Like again,
what's next? Are you gonna hang your stand in the tree?
You know what? If I find a stand, I might hunt in it. Who knows? No, I wouldn't do that. But I don't know. I just had to ask, that way I knew if we were friends or not. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I will say one thing that I was just thinking about that crossed my mind when you were talking about that, is like just a reminder, like if you can get your cameras out there earlier and beat everyone else out there, like I was just thinking about that. Like when I come across a camera in public, it's like, oh crap, man. Like, do I really want to set a camera in here, right? And then do I want to be hunting next to someone? Is he a good hunter? Is he not? It like kind of makes you question, like, should I just go look for another spot, kind of deal,
It is a way to stake your claim.
Yeah, it is. So it's like, man, I need to get my butt out there a little earlier next year or something. I don't know.
All right, fine. I will. But
I will try not to single you out or anything.
No, I get it.
Even for myself, I was thinking it.
I get it. But I mean, also, again, I'm not trying to justify my actions, because was it a little bit scummy? Yeah, probably. But we've been those people too that we would hang. I don't know how many cameras we've hung in Southeast Oklahoma. A lot. We've probably lost more than we've recovered, but it's like that doesn't mean that we're actually going to be hunting that spot. Now, since it's a cell camera, it might be a little bit different, but I'll let the audience judge, so they can tell me. Anyways, what were you going to say, Christian? I know I interrupted you beforehand.
Oh yeah, no. Where I was going out with that, we're like talking about scrapes, and this is like kind of my first year. I don't know why, but really digging into the scrape stuff, especially as like a means of inventory. At what point do you kind of move on from those? And obviously I'm talking about hunting near them. At what point do you move from, hunting actively over scrapes to you're just all day sits in your rut funnels, or do you continue to hunt of them through November?
So I prep my rut stands. So I have a vine scrape always at 20 to 30 yards, because I'm always filming. It helps. I self film a lot, and it helps me to have a natural reason for that deer to stop for me put my camera on there, grab my bow, draw back, because I don't even grab my bow until he's on the scrape, kind of deal. But dude, sorry, I had a brain fart. What was the original question?
At what point? At what point do you? Dude, this is so relatable. I get that way all the time. At what point do you transition off of maybe just hunting scrapes into your rut funnels? Or you're a good land manager, so they might be all in one place.
Yeah, no. The time to be hunting the scrapes is the past probably 7 to 8 days here in Iowa, anyways, into probably the next 3 or 4 days. If you got a hot scrape, they're going to continue to hit it on a regular basis. Now they're still looking for that first doe, but they're starting to cruise the farm a lot more. The range is starting to open up. And what I've been seeing on all of my guys' cameras, including my own, is a lot of these bucks, they're hitting the food sources still later at night. That last 30 minutes, they're in the food sources, checking those does, though, in the morning, cruising back into the bedding. But I hung my stand for this bigger deer that I was hunting a couple weeks ago, and it was right on the edge of doe bedding. He was going through there every morning, but where he was actually bedding was this little tiny quarter-acre draw just to the north of that, about 100 yards. He was away from those does. He wasn't actually bedding with all those does. It's really funny. People always hate on the whole doe bedding area, but when you only see does bedding in an area, I see that often. I consider it doe bedding. The bucks don't want to bed, especially the older bucks, don't want to bed with all those does with that many deer around them. Yeah, right now, this next week, start hunting the edges of doe bedding, pinches. That's where you're going to find them in November. Have the most opportunities.
The Hunter's Advantage podcast is brought to you by Out on a Limb Manufacturing. I used to be that guy lugging heavy gear down a steep hill after a big buck and regretting it with every single step. But now I use lightweight and dependable gear from Out on a Limb Manufacturing, and it has made a huge difference in my hunting and allows me to get to those hard to reach places. I do a lot of saddle hunting on public land throughout the fall, and a lot of those walks are 1 to 2 miles deep into the mountains. And in those situations, extra weight is not your friend. There's nothing better than walking through the woods and being able to get in any tree that you want. I've been running the Shakar sticks for a long time now, and the Ridge Runner 2.0 platform, and this past year I tried the Flatlander saddle from Out on a Limb as well, and all of that gear is extremely lightweight and comfortable. If you want to support a 100% made in America company, go to outonalimbmfg.com and use code HNTA15 for 15% off at checkout. Once again, that is code HNTA15 for 15% off at outonalimbmfg.com. We trust Out on a Limb products for run and gun hunting anywhere in the country, and we hope that you will too. I think you're right on that. But in this time period, let's say November 3rd through the 10th, do you do any calling, any decoying, or is that something in your arsenal?
Yeah, man. I do a lot of decoying. Actually, decoys are going to be really hot starting right now. They were hot last week too. Calling, maybe a little bit of grunting here soon. The one thing about calling, I will say that I don't hear a lot of guys talking about is like, just don't do the rah, rah, rah. Like when I hear bucks, I hear a lot of vocalization throughout November, and I never hear, those are just trailing grunts when you do it like that. Most guys, it's just like a single blah. But you got to get that buck roar in there, like the rah, 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 like something like that. Like that is more like, hey, 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 instead of like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? And
Over here.
It's just different. I mean, Casey's laughing at me right now, but yeah, no, I have a lot better luck calling that way, especially on public too, because just a lot of guys aren't like trying that kind of different stuff, but that's what the bucks do when they're grunting. They make crazy noises.
Do you throw that in with your rattling sequence? Or do you in between, before, or how do you kind of mix in those together?
Yeah, it's all it depends on what that buck's doing, on what, to be honest with you. Like if he's just cruising, I know it's a dominant buck and he looks like he's in an aggressive state or something, I'll start with a snort wheeze probably. If he is looks like he's like nose down, like on a trail or something, like looking for that doe kind of deal, I'll do some trailing grunts or just some grunts and whatnot. I never call when deer are within like 50, 60 yards. That's a big no-no unless you have really high wind, because they'll pinpoint you. They'll look right up at you in the tree. But the most overlooked call is rattling's awesome, but the most overlooked call is a doe bleat. I can remember several occasions where like I rattled, that buck came in at 50 yards. He saw everything because there wasn't much horizontal cover after he committed. Then he turned around, and just to mess with him, I remember giving him a couple doe bleats, and he's like, "Oh, doe," and committed all the way to the tree. So don't forget the doe bleat can before you head out to the woods this year. But gosh, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about too, and it's ground hunting and calling. Dude, when you can add rustling leaves to your calling sequence, like that's like adding, like, I mean, calling from a tree, it's like only having purple, green, and blue on your canvas. But when you call on the ground and you can paint the picture with all the leaves and the sticks breaking, and that's what an actual buck's fight sounds like, your calling power is crazy. That's when you add the yellows, reds, orange, pinks, purple, whatever. Like that is like the full masterpiece of calling. Calling on the ground is much, much superior than calling from a tree. And honestly, what it made me experiment with that last year was watching Josh Bomar like use the rope with like antlers down at the base of the tree, which I kind of thought was, well, it's a good idea, but I just didn't like how much movement it was below the stand and everything. And gosh, like I remember one day I literally, like just for fun, I literally rolled around, broke sticks, logs, like I'm literally rattling and rolling around the woods at the same time. And I called 2 bucks in for Casey within like 30 seconds of the sequence. It was awesome.
When you're on the ground like that, are they pretty switched on too, or is it so like it? I know it probably all varies, but in your anecdotal experience, like, do they come in like switched on where it's like they're so convinced that's another deer that they kind of throw caution to the wind a little bit, or are they kind of like coming in like they're trying to pinpoint first?
They come in hot, but they can't pinpoint the sound for so much, or as well. Like they can still pinpoint it in like a 50, 100 yard area, but normally like I'll see them coming from a good ways out. And the past 2 years I've been experimenting with a bow mounted decoy, and they look so cheesy, but it is like, oh my gosh, it's the coolest way to kill whitetail, hands down. I'm not even kidding. Like I had the first time I ever tried it, we had this mature buck come in, and as soon as I put it up, he started licking his nose, ears pinned back, was coming. If there wasn't a fence, he would have came all the way to me and beat me up. But I mean, I drew back right in front of his face. So like that's the setup that I use when I'm calling from the ground. We actually did that with Casey in early October. We were just having a dead sit. I was sitting by a lone oak in the middle of a bean field that I knew was a really hot scrape. We were hunting that scrape actually. And what I did, we were getting closer to last light. So I was like, screw it. We haven't seen a deer. I'm going to try something out. And I make a really long snort wheeze, trying to like paint the picture that here's a mature buck. There's probably some other deer around here. So I'm trying to like let this deer know, okay, there's deer over there. It's okay for me to come over there, kind of deal. And then I start grabbing the tree probably a minute, 2 minutes later, and I start thrashing it like he's making a scrape. And then I kick the leaves up. And within what, probably 15 minutes, 2 mature bucks come all the way into 3 yards from Casey with that bow mounted decoy. It was awesome, dude.
Is it do you use the like the predator decoy, like ultimate predator? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the one, dude. Yeah. I know
Okay.
it looks corny, but dude, it is like, I'll send you a couple links, man. Like it's legit. It works awesome. And if you're ever like walking to the tree, it folds up into like a 6-inch disc, probably about this big. And if you're ever like walking to the tree or something, you see that big buck right there, you got wind, you could easily put a stock on with that deer. But the only thing is, if you are the buck, he's going to come head on, and he's coming to like fight you. He is like
Just
going to come head on.
You're like, fight that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be ready for
It's like one of those bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be ready for a frontal shot. But if you're the doe and your buddy's the buck, then all the focus is on the buck decoy, and you can manipulate the setups to where you have a perfect broadside shot. It's awesome running it with two people.
Well, because I have that Primos, or not Primos, that Flambeau like boss buck. And the
Yeah.
only thing that I don't like about it is, dude, it's like being in the military and hauling your buddy on your back. Like, it's so big. And I shot this buck over my shoulder with it, and it was super cool, but like, it's not mobile. You go out with it and you set it up, and you want to go another 100 yards. You're like, oh, frick. You know, you put it on your back and haul it in again. It's like, setting it up is loud too. It's like, clong, clong. So you kind of got to sit it in one place and hunt over it. But I like what you said, especially in places where it's thick. It's like, dude, I can just kind of work my way with sequences through all this stuff. And they come in, it's like right here.
Yeah.
But
pretty cool.
Christian, like it's big and bulky and not fun to carry in, but I don't know. I guess I'm asking both of you guys this, like, because I've thought about that, like on some of the public pieces, because every now and then if you do like a blind rattle or something, a buck will come in, but like you said earlier, they'll hang up like 50, 60 yards. And as soon as they figure out like there ain't nothing here, they kind of lose interest, or they're just kind of weary. Like, all right, I didn't see what I was hearing. And then they kind of work off. And it's like, I think if you were to, as much as it would suck, just tote it in, maybe to already a pre-hung set or something like they have on public, it's like, maybe that could be the golden ticket.
Good way to get shot on public too. They're like, hell yeah.
Yeah. You might want to go in like an archery only thing. Maybe wrap a whole bunch of orange tape around it. I don't know. It's just a thought.
No kidding. Hey, one thing that you can do, you can make a sling. I do it with my DSD, and I will say, dude, a DSD is totally worth the money. It is a noticeable difference. Like, no does blow at it, no other bucks blow at it. Boss buck works with the mature deer. All the does and little bucks always blow at it for me. But if you put a rope and tie it to the bottom of the leg on the front, and say like the bottom of the leg on the back, opposite side, you can literally just throw it over your shoulder. That's what I do with the DSD, and you can carry it just right on your side. It's so much better. It's the most comfortable way, I promise you.
Is the DSD, is it made of more like and I don't know if you ever waterfowl hunt, but like the Avian X type stuff, like it's like a more malleable, kind of softer, like not as loud plastic, whereas that boss buck dude, you can hit it and it's like freaking hitting a gong. It's loud.
Yeah, that's how they are, man. And it's so huge. Like, their face is literally posture. That, I mean, it makes a really, really big difference. The posture is just perfect on that decoy. And now they got the lay down, which I need to order that. But it's just they're awesome for painting pictures, man. They and you get the coolest encounters from them. You really do.
You feel like that little bow decoy, though, that's got the little 30-inch, 40-inch rack on it, you feel like they respond to that pretty well, though?
I know they do. Like, I've had a lot of deer, a lot of really nice deer too, within 5-10 yards of me with that decoy. I mean, I'll use it when I'll sit on the ground. I'll sit next to a cedar tree. We have a bunch of red cedars, which is awesome cover, man. Really, really awesome cover. I'll sit right next to it. I'll have my camera arm. I'll have my big DSLR there too. And I'll have my bow pointed or right there in front of me. I'll be sitting on the ground, and that decoy will cover my entire body, and my camera will be right to the right. And I'll have deer within 3 yards of me all the time. They'll look at me even when I'm a doe kind of deal, but they won't spook. I mean, I've had 50 deer in front of me with a little buck encounter last year. All these deer were feeding probably within 50 yards. Had my DSD decoy out there, and I was the doe, and the little buck came up to me for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Probably 3 or 4 yards away from me, and never blew, never nothing. So yeah, they work really well, really, really well.
Didn't blow until you just let it rip.
Yeah, I was hoping the big guy actually never committed, never came all the way in, unfortunately, that night. But it was late rut, so switch was kind of off. But I was trying something.
Dude, we gotta quit talking about this, because I'm gonna buy one of these like right after this podcast, because what we've been talking about is like, dude, the southern style of hunting is like everybody's just baiting. Everybody's baiting your fence line. And we have some like decent spots where I think you could go in and rattle a buck. So I'm always looking for like these alternative ways. Like, how can I make this more fun? How can I strip crap out of my bag, and how can I just go and hunt and enjoy it more? That's a fun way.
This is Christian trying to justify him shooting 115er. That's all I'm saying. Because, like, hey, if he comes in right, if he comes in all puffed up, like, man, can't beat that.
Exactly.
Like,
Well,
I'm
he
hunting
chose
the
that was God's
experience.
choice. That wasn't me. He decided.
I'm telling you guys, you would be hooked to the bone, and you'd be like me. You wouldn't want to shoot one any other way after you had it happen for the first time. It is addicting, man. It is addicting especially on the ground. Like when you get a buck looking at you and he's pissed off, like that's pretty hard to draw back on. It's fun.
Yeah, that's when you get the shakes going.
Dude, I was shaking like a dog, man. And I mean, it was a really nice buck. It was a mature buck, 130-inch 8-point in late season. And I mean, dude, he had me going like way more than my other deer that I've shot in the past.
That's
So do you
awesome.
feel like in the month of November, that's when you like using that thing the most? Like when they're kind of a little rut crazed, a little out of their mind, because a lot of times they'll let you get away with crap on the ground just because they're like, I'm not leaving this doe. Like I see you, but I'm not leaving this doe.
Yeah, they're just more dumb, man. And then like the reason I hunt on the ground so much, it is the calling, especially in November. But like I can get away with anything. I just know if I get the right amount of cover, I just know that I can sit anywhere, I guess is what I'm saying, versus I need to find the perfect tree, or I need to buy an $800 or $1,200 saddle so I can get in this crooked whatever cherry tree or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm not buying the extra stuff and paying thousands of dollars to kill that deer. No way. It's just not how I am. But hunting on the ground, honestly, I feel like it's made me a lot better hunter, or at least I've learned a lot more than just strictly hunting out of a tree. I'm trying to pressure more people into ground hunting and open their eyes. Like, dude, it's not like whenever I bring it up, people think it's like, oh, that guy hunts on the ground, blah, blah, blah. Like must be a Gomer, you
Peasant.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, no, dude, like I am way more effective than doing a hanging hunt at 3 a.m., sweat my butt off and stinking up the timber the rest of the day kind of deal, you know? So
It also doesn't lock you down to a certain spot because there's a lot of times like you get back there and you're like, man, or let's say a morning sit, and you're like, well, on the ground, if this morning spot didn't really pan out, I can easily just go and hunt a different spot in the evening. But if you had a tree stand or a saddle, it's like, man, I've already set up all these sticks, the platform, I got all this camera gear right here. It's like, I'll just give it this extra sit and then I'll move. So, I mean, that could be the difference between, I guess killing one or not, but also ground hunting wise, you got to be a lot more on your P's and Q's. Like you got to be a lot more aware because you're not 15 feet above them. You're eye level with them at that point.
exactly right, man. You're going to have a lot more 3 and 5 yard encounters hunting on the ground than you're going to have in a tree. That's for darn sure.
When you're setting up on the ground, like let's say you're hunting over a trail or over a scrape, how far back do you usually like to sit?
Probably 30 yards from the X normally. Sometimes if it depends on what the cover is. But normally 30 yards is what I like to be at because I just like giving that extra 20 yards I feel like is what most people would want to be at, but give them that extra 10 because you don't want deer 3 yards all day from you. Eventually they're going to smell you when they're that close. But if your wind's consistent, then you're chilling. But like the other thing is you have to have at least bare minimum 8 to 10 mile an hour wind if you're hunting on the ground. Otherwise your wind's not consistent. Even if it's 6 to 7 mile an hour, you're going to get a couple switches, and that scent will they'll catch on to it when you're on the ground that close to them. They will.
Are you not fearful of them catching you draw back at all, or
No.
you're just well hidden?
Yeah, I get really well hidden. That's why I was saying I'm really lucky. I get to use red cedars, but it's not like I'm super hidden. That's why I use that decoy quite a bit in the fall, but I don't try and show it to them until they're 30-40 yards. But like all my grounding hunts so far this year, like I haven't used that decoy just because it's too early to use it.
So when, like you said, you want to flash it maybe at 30 or 40 yards. So when you see them coming in and they're like poking around, looking, prodding, you're just kind of stoic, waiting. And then when you're like, okay, I need to reel him 10 more yards, you're like, hey, right here. This is what
Yep.
you're looking for. And then I feel like that kind of takes him off guard too, because they're like looking, like, oh, there he is, right there. Like he's right in my grill now. It's like more of a jerk reaction, you know. It's like a guy flipping you off 100 yards away. You're like, that guy's a dummy. But if he's like,
that is exactly what it is.
if he's 10 yards and he's like, F you, like in your face, you know, that's a little different reaction.
No, that's exactly what it is. And it's that like kind of like that surprise effect. Like when you get in their bubble, dude, and when you get in their bubble, you show them that decoy, immediately you'll see it in their eyes. It's like, I'm gonna whoop your butt, buddy. Because you're a little buck too, and like they're normally, I mean, if you're gonna show it, it's gonna be a more dominant, mature buck. So I'll come sniff you out.
Might be a little buck, but I got a big heart, you know. That's all that matters.
So when you're pounding
hold
out
on.
on the ground,
Christian, hold on. Before I forget, I've been wanting to ask this question. Like going back to kind of like your rattling. Obviously, you're blind rattling, but do you ever blind grunt, or you only do that whenever you get a buck pretty close?
So normally I'm hunting one deer in specific. Now, if I'm just going for a mature buck or not hunting a deer in specific, I'll blind grunt, yeah. But if I'm hunting a deer specifically, I'm not calling until I see that deer, because I don't want to call in any other deer. I just want that deer kind of deal. I don't want to like bring them into 20 yards or 10 yards and just risk spooking them and educating them in my spot.
Okay.
That's kind of, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, Christian, I wasn't trying to cut you off, but also like my last question about that topic is obviously it can be beneficial, but do you think there's, you know, such thing as too much calling, too much rattling, too much grunting?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you shouldn't be blind calling every 30 minutes or anything. But if you're in like, it depends on what kind of setup you're in. Like if you're in the bedding area, like, dude, you shouldn't be blind calling every hour, in my opinion. You should probably wait every hour and a half, every 2 hours. I know it's only 30 minutes difference, but those deer sometimes, like, it takes them a little while to cruise. If you're in a rut funnel, yeah, there's some spots you could probably get away with calling every 30 minutes because they're just cruising on through there, man. It's kind of circumstantial. I found on the blind calling and everything, man. Like the more I've called out a lot of deer, it's one of my favorite parts of deer hunting, really. But everything is just so circumstantial. It's like I could answer it better if you gave me a perfect scenario or like wrote up the scenario or whatever. That's what I do. But yeah, I don't blind call if I'm hunting a deer in specific, I guess is how I'd wrap that up.
There's an 85-incher walking into Jake, his arrow shaking in his rest. He's fixing to draw. No, I'm just kidding. Do you use a ghillie at all?
Heck yeah, man. That's the best. I really like the Osseo camo this year. I tried, Joe Miles sent that to me, and I tried that this year. I really like it. It's like the first camo I've tried that's actually made for a bow hunter. It's got the holes for the harness, perfect amount of pockets. It fits nice. It's awesome. But a ghillie is the best camo. Like if you're trying to really conceal yourself on the ground, there's nothing better than a ghillie. That's a fact.
I hunted this draw hunt by my house last year, and it's literally all it is native grass and cedar thickets. That's it. Like, and they bed in them. And I hunted this one transition between two of them really hard, and I shot 2 does last year off the ground in my ghillie. And it is stupid what you can get away with in a freaking ghillie suit. Like in a cedar, it is dumb. Like I hunted on this hiking trail. I had 7 people walk by me, and I was like, "Hey," and they're like, "Whoa, oh my God, what?" And I'm like, "I'm hunting here," and they're like, "Sorry, we were just biking, and we're just walking." I'm like, "How did you not see me?" I was like, "I'm like 15 yards away," and I cut the face out of my ghillie so like I can have just a little where I can see a little more. It's stupid. I shot a doe at 20 yards off the ground, like didn't even know I was in our area code. Like it's actually kind of crazy.
They're fun to use, man. Everyone should, if you ground hunt, you should most definitely have a ghillie for sure.
Exactly, and deodorant. You're gonna sweat.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what do you use as far as a like a chair? Do you use something with like a swivel, or just like how do you get around on the ground? What do you sit on?
I'm kind of old school, man. I just sit on the ground or I sit on my knees all day. What I'll do when I get to a ground setup, if it's a new setup, I'm always bringing my cedar branches in along with me in the morning. But the first thing I start with is I rake all the grass, all the sticks out of a little, probably maybe a 3 foot, nah, probably more like a 4 foot little box circle or whatever. That way, if I need to reposition whatsoever, I'm not breaking any sticks because I'm filming first. Then I got to grab my bow. Then I got to get positioned to draw back my bow. Then I shoot them, and that's a lot of movement that I got to get away with. So I need to make sure I clean that area up, and then I'll start putting my cedar branches in around me, making sure I'm pretty covered. But I'm always trying to have my back up against a tree to break up my outline. That is one thing that's really, really important with the whole ground hunting game. You got to break up your outline, man. Like Casey's hunt, early muzzleloader, he really didn't have that much cover around us, but I knew if we just had our backs against the tree, we were going to be fine. I bet we had maybe a dozen does at one time within like 20 yards. They never looked up, never saw us or nothing or anything, but same method, just took all the sticks and everything around where we're going to be sitting and cleaned it up and got away with murder, I guess.
So awesome. You killed that I think that 177 you shot either last year or a couple years back. You killed that one on the ground, didn't you?
Yeah, man, that was an EHD year, but yeah, he was on a middle of a fence line with a doe and snuck up there, tried using the DSD at first to like try and bring him to me, but just decided, okay, like snort wheezed at him, saw it, didn't think anything of it, wasn't really bothered by it, stayed with his doe because we weren't in his bubble yet. And then fortunately I got lucky, a little buck came up, he ran him off, ran him off. I sprinted up there with my buddy Rye to probably like, I don't know, 50 yards from where we thought he was. We were actually like 20 yards, and then he walked in at 10. But that ground hunting's fun, man. It really is. I'm addicted to it.
I think I've shot 3 or 4 deer off the ground, and it's freaking awesome. It helps when like there is no trees to hang in. You're like, cool, I have to hunt on the ground. But that ghillie, I've got a little folding chair that I sit in. I've shot a buck off the ground. I shot a buck in a rock pile one time in Kansas, but it's dude, it's freaking awesome. It is really fun. I enjoy it.
It's fun.
Are you have part ownership in Predator decoys? Don't lie, 'cause I'm fixing to buy one.
No, that's actually the way I met that guy. I did a podcast with Danny Ferris, who's the owner of it, on the Hoyt or whatever, and he's like, dude, like you got to try this out. Like you'd be the perfect guy to try this. And I was like, okay. And I remember he shipped him, and I'm like, this looks so dumb, but Shay, why not? Like let's go try it out. And I'm going to send both of you guys the hunt on it. Like that's the hunt where that mature buck came into like 8 yards, like just mad as all can get out. But I had a fence in the way, and I wasn't sure like where I'd want to shoot exactly for that frontal shot at that angle. And then he stopped and he paused there for a little while. And after, I mean, I drew back in this deer's face, you guys. Like he was, I mean, like cockeyed looking at me like mad, like, hey, I'm coming to get you kind of deal. And I drew back right in his face, held it for probably a minute. And it probably took him 30 seconds until he was like, wait a minute, what is that? And of course, I'm a dingling. I had the orange strap that you use when you're on public so you don't get shot. I had it around his ears and his neck. And looking back, I was like, yeah.
He's a prince.
Yeah. But yeah, no. You guys should try them out. They're pretty cool.
That's interesting.
It's a fun style hunt, man. It's just fun. Go ahead.
My thing is like, how do you, like, I already have a tough enough time filming, just any deer in general, and especially kill shots from a tree. It's like, how do you manage to get away with that much movement? And I know you said like cedar, big old cedar trees you can tuck up in, but like, I don't know how many deer, and I'm sure you got some horror stories as well, but like, if you let the camera eat first, most of the time that's going to be the only one eating, at least until it works out. So like, how'd you kind of get into filming? And then like, we'll just go from there.
Yeah. So I got into filming. I wanted to do what I do today ever since I was a little kid. I mean, I literally, like in Halloween and everything, every Halloween I dressed up as a hunter. And my parents finally bought me a little handy cam when I was younger. And then I met my buddy Collins. We got on the Midwest Whitetail. My passion for filming grew there. And the last 6 years, my full-time, I have a land management business, and that's all I do full-time for my income and everything. So every evening, even in the summer months, in the winter months, I'm going out and I'm filming deer. I'm getting 5 yards from deer on a everyday basis in the summer. So I'm always practicing. So, excuse me. I know what I can get away with really well versus what I can't. I've just gained a lot of confidence, I guess, over the years. But I will say, like, the whole filming thing, it helps me stay a lot more calm when I'm, like, I mean, if I got a 180, 200 incher walking in, like, I'm completely focused on, okay, is it in focus? Like, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about how big this deer is or anything like that. I'm stressed about making sure I'm recording this deer, and it helps me take my mind off of, holy smokes, this thing's a freaking an elk walking through the timber kind of deal. But I don't know. I think that's I don't know. I think the whole filming things help me calm my nerves over the years quite a bit.
So it's almost like part of your shot sequence, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, you draw back, you find your anchor point, but now it's like, all right, I got to do this. And then after I check that off, it's this. And then usually by that time it's go time.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like I'm completely content with eating tag soup. I love shooting deer, but I love filming deer and just encountering them more than I do shooting them. Really, I'm always saying, man, I'd love to see what that deer do next year. It's another thing that's got me hooked. I love just seeing what they do on a year-to-year basis. It's just so much fun.
You see, you do it out of the love of filming. And me, it's just like, listen, if I have this encounter, I got to film this, or else when I go back to deer camp, these guys aren't going to believe me that I seen this deer. So it's like, I got to film it first and then you shoot.
Yeah, dude. That was me when I was younger. My parents never like believed me whenever I'd say, "Oh, I saw a giant buck," blah blah blah. And finally, I got my camera, and it's like, "Ha! I got evidence now."
Proof's in the pudding. And if I miss, there's that delete button right there for a reason. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Shoot.
Yeah, we're like, we believe you, Jake. It was 115. We believe you. Yes.
You know, there might be a little bit of ground shrinkage every now and then, but you know, sometimes there's not. But also, if it's big enough, man, and Christian, you're guilty of it too. Like my biggest one is like 162. And that was the sole, I swear to God, that was the sole reason why I even turned the camera on. Because if it would have came out perfect scenario where it didn't know I was there, that camera would not even have been in a thought. But like he came up from behind me and I go to turn and look because like there was a little spike chasing like 2 or 3 doe, and they ended up, you know, running back behind me. And just I was bored. It was like day, I don't know, 2 or 3 on our piece of public, and I was just sitting there just messing with it. I was just blah, blah, just hollering at it with my grunt tube, and of course the spike, he was just looking at the doe. The doe didn't care. Well, he came out behind me, and I thought it was that spike again, just coming back out, and I just stupidly just whip back around there, and of course I move a lot, and it was actually that deer right there, and he just looks up at me from like 25 yards, and I'm like,
Why, God?
this is already over. This is already over. And for some reason, I'm not going to say it was because of the grunting, but he had to have a reason why he was there, and he was so intrigued. He like looked up at me, and I was in a climber, and I just was fearless in that climber. I just got as high as I could, and that might have been the reason too why he didn't really run off. But he put his head back down, started circling the tree, and came out like 20 yards to the left of me. And as he was circling, I was like, I got to turn this video camera on, or else no one's going to believe this. And I just flicked it on, moved the camera in that general direction. And then when I did that, of course, I was swinging the camera. My release was dangling. It hits the side of the climber. Ping. He bounds about 10, 15 yards. And at that point, he's out of frame. And I just said, screw it. Drew back and shot. But like, again, I say all that to say that that's the only reason why that buck was on camera.
Well, hey, story's still on the wall, man. That's awesome. That's a sweet hunt.
Yeah, no, it was even sweeter after because not only am I a lousy filmer and I'm also a lousy hunter because I ended up spining them, which was good for me, bad for it, but you know,
happens.
It does happen. Spine shot's the best shot. That's all I'm going to say.
Drops them.
Yeah, hey, you were 50 yards up in your stand.
While we're talking about filming, I was actually pressuring a couple of my buddies that they got out of the filming thing. They're kind of like me. Like I enjoy the filming, and I enjoy the filming. It's the sharing part that, I don't know. I enjoy sharing my hunts, but not everything per se. But Like, dude, you can buy a Realtree bow hanger thing that's got like a camera mount to it, and it's $20. Our phones can take such good quality video and whatnot. Like, if you want to get into filming your hunts or anything, or like, it's super easy, and your cameras do on your phone do a really good wide angle like iPhones do. Just use that. I mean, just point it in the general area wherever you think you're gonna shoot. It's only $20. Just throw that out there.
That ain't bad. It also helps with like your, after the shot. Okay, where did he run off to? Okay, he actually ran by this bush. And Christian did a video with Troy Fowler, the ranch fair, the other day, and that's what they were talking about. I think Christian even said it. Like, you can go by frame and actually see where you hit. So I mean, it's beneficial on the track too. It's like, okay, I hit a little bit higher. I hit a little bit more in the guts than I thought. Like, let's give it a little bit more time.
100%. Yeah.
I got another question. Selfishly, I can't get out of the decoy stuff in my mind. I can't do it. I know you are doing it a lot for a target buck, which I say is pretty unique. You're like, hey, when I see him, I'm gonna try to piss him off. I don't know. It feels very targeted at him. That's kind of neat. But what would you recommend in terms of like a blind calling sequence? Like, if you're working your way progressively through some woods or some different bedding areas and stuff, how often would you call, and maybe how far would you go before you made another calling sequence, just roughly?
It's circumstantial on if it's big timber or like the setup and everything, but I would just say, like, on regular, probably like on average for all my spots combined, probably every hour to hour and a half you can blind call, because those deer are cruising. They can normally get out of hearing distance. I think that a really, really good piece of advice to try out sometime is in shed season, or even if you got some time this year, to go outside and get a buddy to go 100-200 yards through the timber in an open field and try rattling and see what that noise is like, just to judge, like, okay, like, this is how loud I'm probably calling this amount of area or whatever that I'm set up on. It helped me kind of get that hour to hour and a half time frame, probably on average. But like I said, like, there's just some spots you can call every 30 minutes. There's some spots you probably got to wait more like hour and a half to 2 hours, because you're in the middle of a doe bedding area and there's deer that are bedded down. And when they hear 2 or 3 rattling sequences while they're bedded down, they're going to say, what the heck's going on over there? And the doe is going to come in all curious, looking up in the trees, and your hunt's over with. So I wouldn't blind call all the time, but I mean, yeah, blind calling has worked for many people for years. And yeah, whenever you get bored, tired of eating your snacks and stuff,
So every 8 minutes. All right, I'm with you. So do you use actual antlers, or use like a black rack or something else?
I don't use the black rack. I will give this to Deer Society. They have the best grunt tube, just because you can do a really awesome doe bleat with it. I wish I had more volume on the buck grunt, but the black rack, it's okay. It just doesn't have the volume. In my opinion, I'm always taking sheds, chop the brow tines off with the saw, and I want as much realistic noise as possible. I mean, I want to make it as real as I can, so plus we find a lot of sheds every year, so
That's what I was about to ask. Like, it's almost, it would be like a sin to cut off an eye guard of a shed. Like, we find like 3 a year. We're just not very good at it. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather make my thumbs bleed up from the eye guards rather than cut those suckers off.
I find a lot of sheds, man.
I'm gonna have to buy some sheds just to have some rattling antlers.
Well, we're selling some. We don't have room for them anymore. We keep the big ones, but like all the probably I don't know, like 140s or below. Like we'll use like saws to cut off some brows there and give them out to guys for rattling sets all the time.
Well, I might be hitting you up to buy a set of those. I mean, I need a heavy set though, like freaking that I can do some horsepower behind.
Dude, right here. I'll show you this. Right there, baby.
The Wolverine rattling set.
That's a good 11 point right there. I did want to ask though, do you have a preference whether you call like morning or evening?
Yeah, mornings. I'm a huge morning guy, but mornings, you can still blind call in the afternoons. It just seems like they're normally on a doe by then. They might not be. kind of deal. You might catch them cruising, but you can do it all throughout the day. But mornings, in my opinion, are when you get the best response from deer. But even like midday, man, caught a lot of deer in at 12 or 1 o'clock in the middle of the day. So
It makes me
Like
so
it.
sad thinking about the rattling set. I found this buck that I backstrapped him like 5-6 years ago, and I ended up finding his sheds. And I took him to Kansas last year to rattle for my buddy Peyton, and I broke the G3 on the first one. I was like, oh, this is a sentimental buck. I gotta quit doing that crap. So now I can't use those anymore. I might be having to buy a rattling set off you, because it's just terrible. We don't find good sets up down here. You really
just
don't.
send me your address, man. I'll ship you a set. I'm in the woods, like I'm literally in the woods 7 days a week in the winter all the way through shed season, so I get to find a lot of sheds, fortunately. I just chainsaw trees every day, so I'm kind of in the right spots, I guess.
So
This
if they're
might be
from Iowa,
going-
will they bring in a bigger buck?
Sorry, what's that?
If they're from Iowa, will they bring in a bigger buck? Will they
Hey,
sound different?
don't quote me on it, but they'll sound right. I can promise you that much.
That's funny. Jake,
This might be. Well, I was just going to say this might be too down the rabbit hole, and it actually kind of goes with what you were saying. Do you think kind of like a decoy? You know, if you use a smaller decoy, then maybe bucks might be less intimidated by it. Do you think the same applies for rattling antlers, or do you think it's just all a whole bunch of noise to them?
Yeah, I normally go for like a heavier antler if I'm using my rattling antlers. Just because it makes more noise, they pop better, they sound better. But I mean, the like a 100, like a I'm talking about using maybe like a 150 set, and because they're bigger, and then like you get the like 100 inches to like the 120s, like those are really good rattling sets too. I mean, I don't really notice calling more deer in versus one or the other. I just noticed like the volume difference is much more significant with the bigger ones, and I don't have to like get as aggressive when I'm rattling. Like I can just, it's all on the wrist with the bigger ones.
You cut eye guards off of a 150-inch set,
Yeah.
dude. Dude,
I find a
my
lot of sheds, you guys. Like I find
prized
300
possession.
shed deer.
Dude, I haven't found 300 sheds in my life. There's no way. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's super cool. Kind of, I guess, sticking in the theme of the rut here, and you get to hunt a bunch, and you get to hunt in, you know, I guess some pretty decent areas. Is there anything that you could say is common rut mistakes that you see people making, or anything you would avoid during the rut that you think people do a lot?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest November things that I've learned and made mistakes, a lot of mistakes, with several deer, like in the past, is and this isn't just for like hunting one deer in specific, it's just in general, like is bouncing around everywhere. Like, oh, I got a big one over here, I got to go hunt this farm today. And then I get a big one over here, and well, this one wasn't here today, so I'm going to go hunt that one. I think bouncing around can lessen your odds. I mean, you always got good odds when you go out in the timber, you always got a chance. But when you sit the same spot time and time again, and you're always playing your wind right, and you're not spooking deer when you're accessing and getting out of there, your chances go up when you sit that one spot. And I've gotten a lot more dialed in on deer by just, this is the spot I'm hunting. I know he's going to come by here eventually. I just need to put the time in. I mean, that's all November really is. I mean, you got to put the time in. And if you put the time in one area in specific, you're going to catch up to him, or you're going to get a shot eventually, even on the really pressured stuff.
That's a good point, because it'd be really easy if you had 2 or 3 different spots to be like, well, I had a good buck on that camera, and go chase that one. Oh, I had a good buck on this camera, and go chase him tomorrow. And you're never putting, because those bucks aren't doing the same thing day after day, morning, evening, you know, like that. So I could be guilty of that. I guess I got a few spots down here in Texas that I, with a few different decent bucks, and it'd be very easy to just chase a different one each day at a different property.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say one more thing too that I'm thinking for November as well, and that's scent control. It's a lot more important, I think, than what people realize. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not a guy that like believes in like, yeah, if I just spray my stuff every day, like I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm every day I get my ozonics. I do my ozonics locker, and that stuff works, man. Like I've put stuff sprayed by a skunk. I've put some smelly stuff in there. It works. Like I know for a fact it does. I don't always bring it out to the tree with me. But then I spray with nose jammer. But the most important thing is making sure that I wear my rubbers. If I'm sitting in a tree for my ground scent, man, if I wear my lace ups, I've seen so many deer, so many deer follow my ground scent all the way to 5-10 yards from my setup sometimes when I'm in a tree. And they stink a lot more than what rubbers do when you're in the tree. Like I used to get busted way more because I was wearing my lace ups and whatnot. But even small things like wearing your long johns in, if you got a long walk, a lot of my walks in to the stand are like a mile long. Dude, you're going to be cold for the first 2 minutes. And, but put your clothes on when you get to the tree. Don't sweat or whatever, because if you do sweat on the way in, I'm telling you right now, you stink the rest of the day. If anything's downwind, you're not going to get by with as much as what you would if you would have just, I mean, I'm trying to choose my words here, just waited to put all your clothes, all your layers on until you get there. I think that's a really, really big mistake a lot of guys do, because you can get away with a lot of things in November if you don't stink really, really bad.
Well, Jake can't smell, so the deer don't smell him.
That
They
is
have
true.
like a mutual agreement. He really can't. He really can't smell, which is kind of crazy. So he never knows if he stinks. So you're good, Jake. You just keep
You
hunting.
just like telling people all my disabilities, or dude, I should be collecting a check from that. Honestly, like
you should.
Bro,
It's a real
I would.
disability.
I
Dude,
would.
growing up, I didn't believe him, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get him one of these days and like catch him lying. And we drove by like a skunk, and I like caught myself. I was like, don't say anything. And I'm like about to like puke in the truck, and like I look over to him, and he's just like stoic. I'm like, he can't smell. I'm like, he really can't smell. I finally, I thought I was gonna get him.
I went to the doctor about it when I was younger, and they were like, "Well, have you ever been able to smell?" Like no joke, this was a diagnosis. He said, "Have you ever been able to smell?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, never had it, didn't lose it,
Never
so,
lost it.
Yeah." So like
No worries.
he was like, "All right, court adjourned." Basically, I was like, "All right, I guess that's just it." But no. Whenever you're talking about walking in, do you ever use like any like drag ropes or anything like that?
When I was younger, my dad used to always do that. I remember he'd put fox urine, he'd put doe estrus on the bottom of my boots. And every time he would do that, I would notice that all the deer downwind would look right up at me and they would blow at me. So I am not a fan of putting it on my boots. The whole doe pee behind you on like a rope or whatever. I haven't I should honestly experiment more with that. I've had so little success with the urines doing stuff like that that I try and just keep that away from my clothes. I don't want to smell like that. Like I saw a scent company the other day putting a tarsal gland in a branch and everything. It's like, that smell's not supposed to be up in the air like that. That's meant to be down on the ground. You don't want that smell like going all over. Like I remember when I was younger, I tried doing that once because I bought the exact product I saw, and I watched so many deer come up to it, and then when they smell it, they spooked. They got out of Dodge. So the whole donor thing, I'm sure it works for some people. I can't speak on it personally. I haven't had much success with it.
Yeah, the only reason I asked just because I got some buddies down here, and I don't know if he is anymore, but he used to be big on those drag ropes, and he would just get like an old sock or an old hand towel or something, and he would, I forget what he drenched it with, probably dopey, and he would hang it off to the side where it's not like on his trail. He would kind of walk off the trail a little bit and drag it down there, and he swore up and down it was just like a coon dog. They would just come and go all the way up to the tree, and he was like, obviously the closer the better when you have a bow, but yeah, I just didn't know if you had any experience with that.
My VTMI of it used tampon works really well.
Oh,
very, 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 very well. Yeah,
I'll save mine next time I have period.
I knew that was coming. Wife just starts digging in the drawer, and it's like, "What happened to all of them?" And it's like, "Oh, sorry, they're in my hunting bag. Go grab them."
They absolutely can. Dude, that's funny. You want to close my nose guard, Jake?
Yeah. So kind of like I brought up earlier, I ain't gonna go through the whole spiel, but just for the sake of it, social media is a big, it seems like big grip and grin for the new hunters, or someone trying to find maybe their first success. But along the lines of that comes a lot of fails when you're first starting out. So what is that one time, whether that's a missed shot opportunity or just a blown encounter of a big old buck? What's that one that still haunts you to this day? What is your close but no cigar?
Ooh. Gosh.
I got a lot of them too. Don't worry.
Probably the one that kind of I learned the most from is probably just the whole. This correlates with what we were talking about earlier, just the calling too much. I mean, when I was first starting out, dude, I was ripping the antlers every 15 minutes kind of deal. Like I was hooked on it. And when I would call a deer when they were within 100 yards and whatnot. And I had one that was really big. This was after I should have known better at the time. But he was hung up at probably 40, 50 yards away, and he was just cruising. And I knew he wasn't going to come to me, so I grunted, and just nothing but openness. Like from where he was, he could see everything that where this deer that I was imitating should be. And I called or whatever, looked right up at me, and put his tail up in the air and ran away. And so my biggest failure that I've learned from, I guess, if that's what the question was, if I'm not mistaken, is probably learning that do not call when those deer are within that 60 to 80 yard mark. If there's not like a buffer in between you guys, they're going to look straight up at you in the stand, like every time. Wait for that deer to get another 50 yards down the hill, or just even a little bit over that hill where you can still see him, but he still can't fully see you, and then he'll commit. But if you call to that deer while he can see everything in your area, he doesn't have to come check over there, because he should see that buck. He should see that doe that you're imitating. You know what I mean? So
we really appreciate you doing this, dude. It's been
yeah,
fun.
I had a blast. Man. You guys are awesome.
Shoot. Well, we're going to go out there, and I swear to you, an 85 inch is dying with that decoy this year. It's getting done.
Dude, please tell me if it happens, because I will be so pumped if you try it out. I know. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, nope. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, you gotta make sure you send me your address. That way I can ship you a set to rattle with this year. Don't want you breaking any more of your sheds you got.
My freaking trophies. Exactly. Yeah, my only match set.
Hey, I'll leave the brow tines on these ones too for you guys. You guys,
well, you see, then we wouldn't use them as rattling antlers. They'd just be like sitting up on a pedestal or something. So
I'll just be like, that was my target buck. I let him go another year.
Whenever you were talking about like all the decoys and stuff, I was sitting here watching Christian's eyes, and I could tell he was scrolling on like Marketplace or Amazon or something.
I went to Ultimate Predator. I went to their website. $84. Yeah, I'm getting one. Yeah. I am.
Well, I'm definitely sending you the link to a couple encounters, and it'll get you the jitters, man, to try it out this year. So I'm excited that I talked someone into it.
Dude, heck yeah. Well, where can people connect with you and follow your stuff, and just keep up with you throughout the season?
Yeah, Casey and I have a YouTube channel. We started a few months ago called Flatlander by Kaleb Greiner, and you can find us. She just started Instagram too, the Flatlander official. Maybe all the names were taken, and then I'm Kaleb Greiner. So I post a lot of stuff on my stories. I wish I could post more on YouTube, but like I hunt some really pressured stuff, and in Midwest whitetail, like every week we had videos of what I did every day, and it got pretty invasive with everything. So I'm going to do a lot of land management videos throughout the off season and whatnot. It's all I do. So the hunts will come out kind of randomly throughout the fall, but appreciate you guys checking us out or watching if you do.